So this is our monthly free webinar, and this month we are talking about supercharging your sales results with video marketing. We have had a few different things with video marketing, podcasts and other things, but we have never done an entire webinar, right?
Not on video marketing.
On video marketing, exactly. So you're in the right place if you need to sell stuff, right? Aviation products,
particularly
or
aviation stuff.
Exactly. You are in the right place if you don't have a huge video department. You may just have you, and in a lot of cases in the aviation industry, people wear multiple hats. So you might be also in charge of sales, you might also be in charge of marketing, you might also be the chief pilot, you might also be any number of things.
So where did that saying come from? People look funny wearing two hats.
Yeah, they do look funny wearing two hats, but they do it all the time, especially in aviation, right?
Oh, figuratively speaking, yes.
Exactly. So, we're assuming that you don't have a ton of resources, and we also assume that you are not George Lucas or Cecil B. DeMille, right?
And if you are, then please guide us along the way.
You should be teaching. And actually, seriously, you don't have to have a lot of talent. You don't have to have a lot of technology. You don't have to have a lot of things to make this work, because we're talking about video marketing. We're not talking about creating the next
Stephen King film.
Exactly. Right. So if those things are true, then you are definitely in the right place. And if those things are not true, then you may find this to be a little elementary for you. And if that's the case, we apologize. Pat, if you end up, Pat's here. Anyway, if this is something that you do day in and day out, then you're going to find that this may be a little elementary for you, but you're very welcome to add your comments, and you should be teaching the class. So, right? Okay. So we are AIDCA. My name is Paula Williams.
I'm the other guy. I'm John Williams.
And we are AIDCA, and AIDCA's mission is
to help all you ladies and gents out there sell more products and services in the aviation world.
Exactly. And we are not film school graduates. We are not Sundance directors or anything else.
Not yet, anyway.
Exactly. We are sales and marketing professionals that happen to use video in the course of what we do because it works. So most of the information that you are going to see today comes from one of many sources. We do try to identify our sources where we can, and otherwise, if it's something that we heard 10 years ago in business school or whatever and can't quite place it, we apologize to the Stephen Eccles School of Business.
This all comes from our experience, and,
exactly.
And we've done probably not everything wrong.
Mm-hmm. At least once.
But we've done an awful lot of stuff wrong and figured out some stuff.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to talk about the things that we're going to cover today are why video works. Also, different types of marketing.
Works for what?
Works to make sales. That's what we're here for, right? Sales and marketing.
But, I'm saying.
Types of marketing video to consider using for your company. We're going to talk about a promo video template that we use for our promo videos, for our short videos and things like that. It also works for long videos. It's just a nice template to use to make sure you're covering all your bases and making a really effective video. If you're going to spend the time, you might as well make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also have a special offer at the end for people who are not currently our clients. If you are a client, you are very welcome to stay through to the end and comment and question and anything else you want to do. But up until about the last 5 or 10 minutes, it's going to be all content and no sales pitch. But people always ask, are you selling something on this video? And the answer is, darn skippy, we are.
Of course. Why do you think we're here?
Company. Exactly. That's why we're here. Okay. So carrying on from there, we are not advancing for some reason, but let's see what we can do here. So please do two things. One is to make sure you have a pen and download the slides if you want to hang on to anything. Those are there for you to print and scribble on. You're going to want to write down any questions that you have. We're taking questions at probably 5 or 6 different places during the hour. But the rest of the time we'll just kind of keep moving just to keep things going. And also make sure your cell phone is off. Multitasking is highly overrated. So if you do this right, you're going to get the attention of prospects, of more prospects in the process. Your prospects will trust you sooner in the process. Now, if you are in any kind of sales, you understand that that first conversation can be a difficult one, especially if it's somebody that has never heard of you. You know, when you have that conversation, I think this is a good fit for you, and you don't think so. So, you know, that sales resistance is something that we always struggle with, right?
Yeah, unless you do it enough. Once you've done it enough, it becomes actually easy, and you start looking forward to the next guy you're going to talk to.
Exactly. And the last thing that we like to do with video is that we find that your sales cycle can be shorter because people understand your product or service better sooner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So here are some statistics that they're actually current statistics, 2017 March. It's about as current as we could get. Every time we look up statistics on this, we did a presentation that included some of this information a couple of years ago, and the numbers were about half of what they are now, and they were still impressive.
Yeah,
so,
it just keeps changing.
Yeah, every time we look, video becomes more effective than it was a year ago or 6 months ago or you know, 2 years ago or anything else. And the reason for that partly is because technology is improving, bandwidth is improving, people can download it and stream and, you know, do all kinds of fantastic things that they couldn't do back in the days of slow internet.
Exactly.
And the other thing is that your competitors and other folks are already using video, so it's really, really smart to start doing this. So, you know, 51% of marketing professionals worldwide name video as the type of content with the best return on investment, which is saying something because it does cost more to produce. It takes more time, and it is more, you know, takes more equipment, frankly. So it is more expensive to produce than text or just static photos, right?
Yeah, and by more equipment, you don't have to have broadcast quality, but you have to have better than consumer quality.
Exactly. And software too. So marketers who use video grow revenue 49% faster than non-video users. And I think part of that just happens to be the fact that people who use video tend to be more aggressive and tend to be more tech savvy than people who don't. But there is something to that. 59% of executives agree that if both text and video are available on the same topic, they're more likely to choose video. Is that true, John? Mr.
I
Executive?
wouldn't consider me an executive, but yes, but that's what I do. I'll go to the video. I mean, you know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, if you get the fact that in video you've got roughly 30 pictures per second, so that's 30,000 words a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Social video, that means video that is shared on a social media channel, generates 1,200% more shares than text and images combined.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, anybody that we're doing digital marketing with, we are producing video a lot more than we ever have in the past. We used to focus on text because it's searchable and images because they're compelling, but video outperforms everything else to the extent that we want to make sure we're producing some video for every single digital marketing client.
Yeah, but you can't Google. I mean, Google doesn't work on just video, does it?
That is true, but you can use metadata, and there's always text in the post when you post it on social media.
Okay, that's what I thought. You gotta
Okay.
have text deal with it.
Now, everybody says aviation is different. We are not like high tech. We're not like consumer retail. We're not like any other industry. But I would say aviation is actually even more suited to video than just about anything else.
Absolutely.
Aviation professionals are often former military. They're often pilots, current or past. They have learned to absorb a lot of information visually and process a lot of information visually. They're very, very visually oriented people, demographically speaking. The male versus female thing, if you've ever seen any statistics on that, male people, men, if I can say that without being sexist, are much more rapidly absorb information visually than by text or hearing or any other sense. And women tend to be more likely to hear things and things like that. Men are more likely to see things first and absorb information that way. So your decision makers in aviation are still, demographically speaking about statistics, probably 35 and up, college educated, high percentage of former military, high percentage of former pilots, high percentage of male, high percentage of college educated, all of those things add up to this is your perfect market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So aviation decision makers, this is John and Mike, our mechanic, tend to be very hands-on and very visual. And John, you like to see things for yourself. You cannot stand to just sit there from across the room and have somebody doing something.
Well, it's not just see. I have learned over time that if you understand how things work, if you get the feel for what, before it actually breaks completely, you can feel that it's not working right.
Yeah.
And then you understand what's going on inside, then you know whether you should continue doing what you're doing or do something different.
And that's a really, I think, a popular mindset among aviation professionals. They really want to see how things work before they invest their money, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of our clients, Randy's got a desk that goes up and down, and I'd really like to have one, but before I would do that, I'd want to see how the thing works in as much detail as I could. I think it's way cool, but still.
Exactly, and Paxton has a weather app. I would never buy an app without seeing screenshots of what it looks like. I'd love to see some video on how it works, all kinds of things like that for all kinds of products.
And see, as an example, I would never have bought a Harley if I couldn't write it first. And so I delayed because they would not let you ride one, and nobody in their right mind has got one is going to let you ride it.
Of course not.
So until Harley's changed their marketing strategy and let you ride from the dealer a bike, I didn't buy one. Once I did, it was just a matter of time before I bought one. The same thing. I mean, airplanes, I wouldn't buy an airplane without flying it.
Exactly. Well, and one step below a demo is a video, right?
Yep.
So, if we go...
that convinced you to go get a demo.
Yeah, exactly. A demo is ideal, but, given time, expense, logistics, location, geography, everything else, demos aren't always possible. So video is the next best thing to a demo, and that's where we want to spend our money, is as high up the food chain as we can on those customer experiences.
And if you're curious, what happened to that airplane is the starter blew up. There's a warranty. I mean, it really exploded.
Yeah, exactly. It did.
It came apart, and pieces were sort of falling out of the cowling. That was like a waterfall, and it dented the muffler. I mean, it really came apart.
Yeah, that was actually one of my planned solos when I was doing my cross country, and I was in the airplane. John was outside, and I started it up, and it started hurling little pieces of metal at the asphalt. Not a cool thing.
It was a warranty item, but still, it was just disconcerting to be standing out there listening to pieces fall out of the running engine.
Like, okay, I'm not flying today. That's going back to the shop, so that's cool. All right, so let's talk about how video performs in comparison with everything else in the aviation industry. And of course, our own Facebook data is pretty typical for a lot of our clients. We're after C-level executives or owners or founders of aviation companies, and we, those are the kinds of people that we pursue. And the types of content that get interacted with on our Facebook page, you can see video far outperforms photos, links, shared videos. That would be where I take somebody else's video and share it. So our own videos that we produce ourselves are clicked, they're shared, they're commented on, they're reacted to, they reach a lot of people.
Looks like 9 times shared video.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, you want to produce your own video whenever you possibly can, and use video as opposed to photos, links, or text whenever you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think, okay, well, that's Facebook, but I'm not selling to teenage girls, right? There's actually, I had somebody tell me that at a trade show, just like, well, I'm not using social media because I'm not selling to teenage girls. Okay, I get that. But if you look at the demographics here, this is not teenage girls, right?
Nope, it is not.
Our demographics of our Facebook page are 81% men, and most of them are over 25, right?
And most of them are professional.
And most of them are professional.
So, and a good number of them will deny that they're on Facebook.
That's true. So they might tell you to your face that they are not on Facebook, but they really, really are.
Yes.
If we were trying to sell to teenage girls, we would be failing badly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because one, they don't buy, and two, I mean, how would you go about finding them?
Well, no, it's just all a matter of how have we targeted our
That's
Facebook
what I mean.
information. So, that's my answer to people who feel that, maybe this is too trivial for them or it's not reaching the right people. Prime CEO demographics right here. These are the people who have, not just follow us on Facebook, but the people that have liked, commented, or shared our posts and videos.
In fact, we had a client that actually sold jets on Facebook.
Yeah, he sold a business jet from a contact from Facebook.
Yeah, so what the heck?
Exactly. And the people that are the most engaged with our posts, including video, as we saw in that last thing, are mostly men. And, our largest group here is 55 to 64. So, that is prime CEO demographics, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And, our next largest is 65 plus.
Well, you say CEO, it'd be the C-suite anyway.
Yeah, C-level executives. And those are the kinds of people that buy our services. So, it is very likely that your demographics may be similar. Your results may vary. But this is a pretty good indication that video is going to hit the right people, especially if you deploy it on social media and other places. And I'm using Facebook because they give us some pretty good statistics on those kinds of things. So that is our answer to those questions. All right, so questions so far?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if I can get this one here. It's not really, well, that's the multi-line. Okay, we have an FBO charter organization in the Midwest.
Okay.
I don't think our target customers are very tech savvy. How can I find out how to reach them? Okay.
First of all, your customers don't have to be very tech savvy to play a video. I have seen 4-year-old children play video on iPhones, without being very tech savvy.
One could argue they are more tech savvy than a lot of adults.
That's true. But yeah, the point is, your customers don't have to be tech savvy, but to find out if they are in a place where you can reach them with video, you can always send them a CD if you have a great video that you want to reach them with, and if they're not even on the internet. So, don't let the tech savvy, don't get too hung up on the tech savvy part about whether video is going to be effective for you. The second thing is you can target using social media and other things. They don't have to be tech savvy, but you kind of have to be tech savvy to get your video in front of them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so, and you can do that using local search engine optimization, using local digital marketing, using Facebook or LinkedIn or other tools that allow you to set your geography. These are the things that we want to, the people that we want to reach within this particular area and things like that. So don't worry about whether or not your audience is tech savvy. Worry about whether or not they are going to be able to see your video and you can get it where they can find it.
We have another question.
Okay.
What's the best duration for video ads on Facebook? What's too short and what's too long?
Let's save that for the end because we're going to talk about 3 different kinds of video, and some are best if they are under a minute, and others can go as long as you darn well please and still be effective, right?
Yep.
Okay, and we'll talk about that. It's based on the purpose of your video. So if that is good on questions, let's carry on, and we'll talk about types of video, and this will probably answer that question pretty well. There are three ways of making video, and then each of those has different purposes, and each of those also has different ways to deploy it, right? So we're going to talk about those three: the talking head video, the slide or animation video, and the live action video, right?
I like the last one better.
You like the last one better? Well, they all have a purpose. Right?
And I get that.
Okay, so it's like having a toolbox. You know, what's the best tool? The best tool is what does the job best, right?
Yep.
Okay, so talking head videos. This is where you literally have a head in the video that is talking, and these are actually pretty effective for different things. We started using those on Facebook. That's how we've gotten a lot of those statistics that we talked about. Facebook Live is a pretty cool tool because it is a nice beginning of a video workflow that's easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. It gets a lot of people involved, and you're able to generate a lot of interest. We actually have had one client that came to us solely because of a Facebook video. Actually, it initiated the contact with him, and then we carried that on from there, sent him some materials, and went forward from that. But it was directly traceable to one of these talking head videos. And you might say, well, I'm not photogenic, I'm not, you know, eloquent, I'm not whatever.
Everybody thinks that about themselves.
Exactly. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that people can see you and hear you and visualize themselves doing business with you because you're a real person. You don't have two heads. You don't have, you know, you're not an alien. You're not, you know, in a basement somewhere trying to scam them. You're not the Nigerian prince in all of the fake email stories and things like that. What they want to see is authenticity, not necessarily polish, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I went to business school, they made everybody put together a video, and it was painful.
Yeah.
Everybody felt the same way, like they just look like a fool, but they don't.
Right, exactly. I mean, you're always a lot harder on yourself than, and this is really, really painful for me to do, but we get such good results for it that I can't stop doing our Marketing Mondays because, you know, we suffer a pretty big hit in traffic and engagement if we did. So some of the uses of the talking head video are conference calls. Every time you get on GoToMeeting or Skype, you are essentially doing a talking head video. So you might as well do it well. You might as well do a good job of it.
Do it in style.
Exactly. Those social media posts like the one that I just showed you, sales presentations, whenever you are on the phone with a prospective customer, if you can make that a FaceTime or a GoToMeeting or a Skype call and show your face, that gives you a much better chance of closing that sale or advancing the sales process than if they can't see you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Q&A, that's what I use it for. People send us questions, and it really shows a lot of respect for the people that send us questions if I'm willing to go on camera and acknowledge the fact that they sent us a question and answer it. And then interviews. You've seen them on CNN, you might as well do it yourself, right?
Yes.
Or Fox News or whatever it is that you watch. You know, that's a really good way to borrow credibility, especially if you can interview somebody who's an expert in your field or a happy customer or anything like that. So those are some uses for talking head videos. Now, what should your talking head look like? The one on the left or the one on the right?
On the right, of course.
Okay. And this actually is a really good resource. This is from a photographer who talks about how to improve how you look on a cheapo webcam. And I think it's a really good resource. And you can see the difference. We talked to a lot of people on webcams, and most of them look like this guy, right?
Yep.
The Darth Vader look, where they've got the room lighting behind them. They're just in a room. You know, there's no real setup. It's very distracting. It's very hard to have good credibility using that kind of a setup, right?
And even a cheap Okay, cheap. Let's see. What did we pay for these cameras?
Oh, I don't remember. It was less than $200, I think.
Yeah, right. So cheap,
Hmm.
but they're name brand. I think they're I don't remember anymore. But they come with,
Logitech.
yeah, Logitech.
Hmm.
So, pretty standard stuff. But they come with some configuration software, just push and click.
Hmm.
And these will do, and we have them set up to do 1080.
Right, but the difference between these two pictures is not the camera, and it's not the resolution. It is not anything to do
Well,
with
in this case, it's lighting,
exactly.
but the resolution still sucks on both of them.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so let's talk about a webcam setup, and here we've got your not optimal, your typical webcam setup, and this is what 99% of the people that you talk to on a webcam are going to do, or on a talking head Facebook Live. Most of the people that you see look terrible, and this is why. Um, you can make some little changes in the lighting, in the camera angle, just elevate your camera a little bit and put some lighting in front of you and pay some attention to what's behind your head to make that look a whole lot better,
I
right?
know in your office you have a window in front of you, so you can open the blinds and let that light come in, usually, as long as it's daytime.
And not stormy, right?
And in my office, I've got it set up similar to the one on the right. I don't have the uh, flood lamps, but I do have a light on the right as well as an overhead.
Right, because your window's to the side.
Yeah.
So you kind of fill in with another light on that side. So, there's lots of ways to make this look better, and it is definitely worth the effort
Oh, yeah.
of making that happen because it is going to affect your sales. This is not just fluff. This is this is real, really an impression of how your customers see you.
Well, how they see your company.
Exactly. Okay, so wardrobe, hair, and makeup. Take off your glasses if you can stand it. It's really hard to do this with glasses on and not have a glare or not have a flash from your light whenever you move your
As a
head.
matter of fact, I have two pairs of glasses, one that does exactly that. They reflect badly, and one that does not.
Right. So you might want to experiment with that, see if you can change that in some way. You can try adjusting your camera angle, put your camera a little bit higher and have it look down a little bit on your glasses so that they're not glinting or glaring or flashing or that kind of thing. Don't wear plaid or stripes. Simpler is better. Cameras do some really weird things with complex patterns. Wild hair will look wilder on camera, so look in the mirror before you jump on a webcam. If you just came in from a windy day, that's going to look pretty mad scientist on you, And then look at the lens. Don't look at your own image. If you look at your own image, I guarantee you're going to screw up because you start getting into this weird, oh my gosh, I look terrible kind of mindset of, or watching yourself speak, and you completely forget what you were going to say. So don't look at yourself.
And if you're on a go-to meeting, that's easy because you look at somebody else.
Exactly. Right. Look at the lens or look at the other person's image or look at your notes or whatever. Ideally, look at the lens.
Actually look just above or to the left or to the right of the lens.
Yeah, that way it looks like you're making eye contact with the person on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So, questions about talking heads?
What if I have to do a go-to-meeting or a Skype from a hotel room?
We just had that happen in San Francisco. And you did a really nice job of yanking the furniture around so that I could do a go-to meeting. And, he put the desk in front of the window instead of behind the window, which is the way hotel rooms are usually set up. And, we had to run an extension cord to get the computer plugged in that way. But I think it's worth moving the furniture around to do as close as you can to an ideal setup. Have light in front of you, wall in back of you. Usually there's a nice painting or something in the hotel room or a blank wall or something you can put behind you.
Well, back in the early days of ABCI, we actually did a go-to-meeting from the car.
Mm-hmm. We still do sometimes in an emergency or, in a situation where somebody needs something right away. There's just no alternative. But, what you don't want to do is have the phone, hold the phone the way people usually hold phones and have it just looking right up your nose.
Exactly.
So
That's not good.
not good. So even if you have to do it in the car, you can use a tripod or you can use a mount or something like that to set up your camera so that it's not staring up your nose or at a weird angle up your chin, that kind of thing.
Yep. Can you record a Facebook Live and then stream it?
Yes, you can. You can use pre-recorded video on a Facebook Live session, but you have to identify it as pre-recorded material. The Facebook terms of service are very specific, and they can and do shut people down for violating their terms of service.
Probably like Google, once they shut you down, you're dead. You're dead.
Exactly, and you can plead for mercy, but they're really, really unreasonable. Well, they're actually pretty reasonable, but they're really intolerant of people that don't follow their terms of service. And then we have the question again, how long should a talking head video be? It can be very short for a Facebook Live. It can be 5 or 10 minutes, or it can be very long if you have a webinar or a meeting, a sales meeting. You might go an hour or 2 hours. We've done those.
Matter of fact, this one's going to be an hour.
Exactly.
But
this
there's
is the talking
no
head.
video.
Yeah, no talking head here. All right. Any other questions so far on talking heads?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about slide videos, and I hope this will work. Okay, so that was just a slideshow with some music behind it, and very short. And this one is a promo. The first contact that people have with your company in a promo, you probably want to make that very short, less than 2 minutes. Some people will say less than 1 minute. I would say in the aviation industry we have a little bit more slack because we do need to get a little bit more detailed because of our demographics. We're advertising to people who we have to capture their attention within the first 15 seconds by asking a question or doing some other technique to do that. And we'll talk about the formula later. But once again, very short, very simple, composed of slides and screenshots and screen captures and a little bit of video. But you can use voiceovers, you can use music behind it, you can do a lot of things like that, and just use very simple graphics, right?
Yes.
Okay. So uses of slide videos, sliders, obviously, on web pages. You've probably heard of Revolution Slider, Fusion Slider, Layer Slider. They're all products that create a slider on a website. And a lot of the websites that you go to nowadays are going to have slides that can advance. Often they'll have little dots underneath where you can control the slides yourself. And a lot of times they will have different animation effects within those slides. It's a really good way to make the best use of real estate on a website because somebody can just sit there and watch the slider, watch the same space on a video or on a website, and get a lot more information than if it had just static data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sliders on web pages, social media posts are a great place for these slide videos. Product demos, that's what we just saw, a product demo. Process outline, so if you sell insurance or training or something like that, showing the process of here's what happens first, then this, then this, then this happens. Explainers, things that explain a concept that is complicated maybe and make it easier to understand, take things apart. those kinds of things, and webinars like this one. This is actually going to be a slide video when we're done with it and after we, the recording, after we produce it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you make slide videos better? Almost always, thing number one is to simplify the contents. People try to communicate too much. I do this too. They try to say too much, you know, have too many words on the slide. The slide itself is probably a great example of too many words on a slide. You want to use images rather than words whenever you can. You want to use bullets rather than paragraphs whenever you can, and you want to simplify the delivery. So I need to slow down a lot and not use jargon.
You've got 5 bullets on this slide, and it should be no more than 3.
Okay. So yeah, it's one of those things. If I had had time to really craft this, if this were a sales presentation to a very important client, not that you guys aren't very important clients, but I wanted to convey a lot of information very quickly, and I did simplify quite a bit. A lot of the things that used to be in the slides are now in the presenter notes that you're not seeing. But what I like to do when I do a presentation is to write it out first as an outline and then move all of that information to the presenter notes and substitute an image for those words whenever we possibly can, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you can make your slides and slide videos better. Questions so far about sliders and slide videos?
Where's the big red? Ah, there it is.
It's slow, but it's coming.
So for those that have a choice, should they use PowerPoint or Keynote?
I prefer Keynote. I've used PowerPoint for a number of years, and it does have some really cool features that Keynote does not, like their smart art, you know, things like diagrams and stuff like that. It's got some neat templates in it, but I like the finish and the animation and the polish of Keynote.
Yes, that's one thing that you just can't get out of PowerPoint.
Right. I think it's smoother.
Even the PowerPoint rangers have a tough time putting it together so that it looks polished.
True. But that's a Coke versus Pepsi argument.
No.
So you can use either one, and you can get really great results from either one.
Exactly. Do sliders negatively impact SEO or user experience?
They can. Some things that you can do badly with sliders are to have sound that plays automatically. Most people don't like that.
Yeah.
Having the slides go too fast or have too much information on them, that creates a bad user experience. Not being able to control the slides is a bad user experience. As far as SEO goes, you're just taking up space. So they don't negatively impact SEO any worse than an image would. And as long as you've got good meta tags on all of your slides, it shouldn't do any more damage than using an image in that same spot. And your first priority is user experience. Your second priority is always search engine optimization anyway, right? So if you set it up correctly, it's not going to hurt you. It won't help you, but it won't hurt you either for search engine optimization.
Well,
okay.
That's all on that topic.
Okay, cool. So everybody's really good at slider videos.
Evidently.
Evidently. Okay. So live action video. There are really 2 kinds of live action video that we're going to talk about today, and I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. The first one is from the Aero Expo Panama. This is, it didn't work. Okay. Well, you're just going to have to go to these on your own and figure this out. Because, you know, basically what this is, the first one is just like a 30-second video of a helicopter landing at the Aero Expo Panama Pacifico. It's you know, kind of on the day of or the day before the event, they showed some video of them setting up the static displays, and you know, just kind of showed different things as they came in, different aircraft, and just shot raw video and posted it on Facebook, and that got really, really good results. Generated a lot of excitement for the event. And you know, just showing these guys are coming to their spot in the static display for the Aero Expo Panama Pacifico. It's happening this week. Here's how you sign up. You know, so raw video, sometimes just point your camera at something interesting That's all you have to do, right?
Yes, certainly
Okay.
is.
That is a really good example of using just raw video. Other things are really interesting things that happen on a hangar. We had one flight school that showed a deer that just walked by their flight school every couple of days, and they just take a little video of it and post it on their Facebook page. And that was one of their most popular features. Was what's the deer up to? These don't have to be thought through, and they don't necessarily have to be strategic in order to work. Sometimes happy accidents are a wonderful thing. A very strategic and produced video, this is actually one that I'm using. I'm going to ask Pat for forgiveness rather than permission. This is a promo video that is on YouTube for C&L Aviation, and it's actually a very, very good explanation of their company, and it goes through introducing their folks and what each of them does and how that contributes to customer experience and everything else, and it's very well done. Pat, I think, has probably some of the highest production standards of anybody that I've seen, very detailed eye, and he also gets everybody in his company to do whatever he tells them to do, which is always a big talent in a movie producer, right?
That includes the C-level folks.
Yeah, his CEO is just fearless and also very, very funny, so that helps if you've got a subject that's willing and able to be a rock star. So that's cool. How do you make your live action videos better? John?
Sound.
Exactly. And John is our sound guy, which is why I'm...
Well, we had trouble in the first year or two of doing this several years back, and it would just you go to NBAA and try to get an interview with somebody, and it's just too noisy without the appropriate equipment.
Yeah, we wasted a lot of people's time with interviews that we couldn't even use because it was too noisy to hear them. And so we learned that investing a little bit in the equipment, most people have good enough cameras for the kind of video that we're talking about, web optimized video.
Yeah, but they typically don't have external input for sound, and then if they do, people grab a cheap microphone and throw it at somebody, and still you get all the sound. You need somebody at a sound studio to help you decide what's best.
Exactly. The thing on the right is my Frank Sinatra microphone that, I told John I wanted to buy a microphone and showed it to him. And he says, "No, wait just a minute here. I've got something better than that." Dug this out of the garage, which is really cool.
Well, that thing is a 1940s microphone. I took it apart, rebuilt it, and put it back together, and it works as good as it ever did when I was an amateur radio operator.
Exactly. And that's great for podcasts or in the studio kind of work. We're not going to necessarily drag that around to live events.
No, but the sound quality is just something that you can't get without spending several hundred or more dollars these days.
Exactly. But there are good microphones out there that sound pretty good for $100 or less. And Pat Flynn has a pretty good explainer on microphones in different categories. If you've got unlimited funds, here's our favorite picks. If you've got $100, here's our favorite picks. Those kinds of distinctions. Right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So carrying on. Questions so far about live video or produced video?
Let's see, raw or unproduced video. How do you use it?
How do you use it?
Doesn't it make you look unprofessional?
It can in the wrong context. So that's a great question. It can in the wrong context. You want to make sure that you explain why you're using a raw video. If you're using it in a social media is probably the best place to use raw video because people expect things that are kind of off the cuff and authentic and unproduced and unpolished. So that's a great place to use it. And you want to explain where you are and what you're doing and why you're using a raw video because you want that to be authentic and you want it to be show something that they can't otherwise see. So, you know, people would rather see something going on live now than something that's produced for some circumstances. So if you say, here we are at this event and here's what's going on, that's a lot more interesting than just using raw video because you're too lazy to produce it, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so, you know, it's an immediacy thing. It's also an authenticity thing, showing, you know, here's somebody working on an aircraft and here's the process that they go through to do that. It can be very reassuring to people to see, you know, this is just a regular guy. He's working in a regular hangar and he is doing real work on a real client's airplane. You know, those kinds of things can be very effective as raw video because it is authentic. It's not a setup. It's not slick. And it's not produced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
This says, what tools do you use for produced video? But I don't know if that means us or the
or anybody else. We actually had a really good conversation about this in our Facebook group not too long ago, and Shane had some really good suggestions for tools to produce video for social media. And I don't remember what those were right at the moment. There were 2 or 3 of them that were really good. My personal favorite right now is iMovie. I think it's really easy to use and things. There's Final Cut Pro for people who are more into this than we are and have more have a computer that they can really dedicate just to video. I think is what it probably takes for Final Cut Pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other questions?
Should audio be captured on a separate device and merged with video in the editing process? Well, I would say unless you are willing to purchase multiple $1,000s worth of devices, you're better off to capture it on the same device because of the synchronization issues. Yeah, you can do it with PC, well, about PCs. You can do it with Apple equipment because you can look at the sine waves, you can move things around, but it takes so much time. And if you're trying to match up audio with lip movement, far better off just to capture on the same device. Now, that does not mean that you shouldn't have a backup of the audio as well. In fact, I've got a field mixer. It's called a field mixer because it's portable. It runs on AC or batteries, and we always capture the audio on that as it goes into the camera.
Exactly. The worst thing, I think, is the talking head type videos. If you get the audio just a little bit off, then it looks like a badly dubbed foreign language film, right? So that's really hard to do. So you know, but other things where you're videoing like engine noise and things like that, then it doesn't matter if it's a little bit out of sync. So I think you might have a better chance of doing that. If you can get better audio on a different device and then merge it later, that's probably fine with some applications, but the talking head is probably the worst, right?
Oh, absolutely. If it's not a human trying to sync with lips, then you can do whatever you want to because you don't have to be that accurate in synchronization.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I think we're good to carry on?
Yes.
All right, cool. So let's talk about a video ad formula. This is AIDCA. This is one of our favorites. We use it for just about every video that we produce, and we're going to show, and this is another forgiveness rather than permission situation. So if Randy's on the line, we're going to use your video for this. But the formula is AIDCA. It's a nice way to remember: attention, interest, desire, conviction, and action. So if you're a marketing nerd, you probably learned AIDA from the textbooks, and that's attention, interest, desire, and action. We added conviction to this for video because you have to really twist the knife here. And the thing that video does better than any other formula is it gets people motivated to do something. So you know, you want to really exploit the medium for that by making the people want something or making them want to do something, right?
And if it's not live, you can storyboard it first to get And then from that, produce an outline so that you're doing it the way you think is best.
Exactly. So attention, and this is where the shortness of the video comes in. If you don't capture their attention, and you usually have less than 15 seconds, I'd say probably 7 seconds to get someone's interest, somebody's attention, and their interest. So those first two things kind of merge together. First of all, most people just scroll by things in their social media feed without stopping unless something captures their attention with that first couple seconds of video. And then you have to get their interest and earn the next 15 seconds. And then you need to incite their desire to make them continue watching. And then you have to make them motivated to do something. And then you have to tell them specifically what they should do. And this is where most videos fall flat, because they don't leave a call to action, or they don't provide here's specifically what you need to do. Call this number, or push this button, or do this in order to take the next step in the sales process, right?
Interesting, because when you're using your iPad and running down, looking at all the different stuff, there once and twice where I look and I catch something, so they do it in 1 to 3 seconds to get my attention to roll back and look at something.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a real quick video that I hope works on this. Okay, so I'm going to put the formula back on the screen, and let's kind of dissect this just a little bit. We don't have a whole lot of time, but attention, most people are going to see this without sound to start with, unless they turn on their speakers. If they open it up, usually the sound will turn on. But we're not all that, we didn't use a voiceover for this because we wanted it to stand on its own without that kind of thing. Started with a question. What happens when you order your desk? And even somebody who may not be considering ordering a desk will go, wow, why would this be different, than anything else? And hopefully that stimulates their interest. And then a lot of the pieces about those photographs of the process of building a desk would incite that desire to have one. John always wants to do a demo of any product he buys, like doing a test ride of a Harley Davidson. You can't do that in this case, but did that fulfill some of that I want to get my hands on it desire?
Actually, in my case, I would, if I could afford that.
So it worked for you.
I would actually find out where he is and go down there and look at it in real life. But that's me.
Right, exactly. The conviction motivated to do something, the scarcity, the fact that there's only 20 of them, hopefully that was the intention with that. And then the action, most of the ads that I have seen would stop on that second to last screen where it was just finished with the signature executive desk. but you know, that last bit with the phone number is what is missing from most of the ads that we see. Probably 80 or 90% of the ads that we see on social media and even on TV, where they're spending a lot of money to produce those ads, they don't have a strong enough call to action.
Exactly.
And it doesn't work for that reason. So what specifically should they do next before they get distracted by something else? And that can be a phone number, that can be click here, that can be you know, like us on Facebook, that can be anything you want it to be, but you have to give them something to do while they are now motivated. Otherwise, you've wasted that opportunity, really.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So questions so far on our cool little formula?
So what kind of video is best or easiest to start with?
I would say if you have never done video before and you want to have the biggest impact for the least amount of investment in equipment and preparation, Facebook Live videos do a Q&A. You know, get people to ask questions or take the questions that you already have. I'm sure you have some in whatever business you're in, and answer them on Facebook Live. You know, take 5 or 10 minutes, do it once a week, and you know, it will do wonders for your social media following, and also potentially get you sales without a whole lot of equipment. If you've got a webcam on your computer, you can do a nice little setup like we talked about earlier. It will also make you better, and it will make you a better salesperson because you get more confident and you get more used to being on camera. You can see yourself after the fact and just beat yourself up about every single and you know, that will make you a lot better with your in-person sales and your phone sales and everything else.
Okay, we have lots of video.
Okay.
But we're not sure how to use it. How can we make it work as part of our sales process?
Okay, so you know, let's say you have a ton of video either on your camera already or maybe on YouTube, and it's not getting a lot of visits and things like that. What you really need to do is look at your sales process and say, you know, do I need to get more prospecting? Do I need an explainer video? Am I losing people halfway through the sales process? Am I just not closing sales? You know, what's my biggest sales problem? And then look at that video as tools to help you solve that problem. What do you have in that toolbox that you can pull out and help solve that problem? Do you need an explainer video, and will some of that raw video or maybe other things that you've got on your phone help you build something that solves that problem? So where I would start with that question is, you know, look at your sales process and say, you know, do I need more leads? Do I need to close more sales? Am I not getting enough referrals? You know, what's my biggest sales problem? And then what have I got in my toolbox to help me solve that problem?
Cool.
Cool?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Cool. Carrying on what we covered today, why video works. Does everybody know why video works? If you do, raise your hand. Okay. Thank you. Types of marketing to consider. We talked about a promo video template, that AIDCA, so you can go ahead and start building your own and making things work. So what should you do about what we covered today? You should, why are we not progressing here? There we go. Checklist, right? We love checklists for aviation people. Use video to get attention. You know, consider social media, consider Facebook Live, consider putting a slider on your website. So if your biggest problem is getting prospects, do one of those things, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. If your biggest problem is credibility, you got lots of leads coming in but they're not converting, then you need to do some more work on things like explainer videos or Q&As or product demos or something that explains your product better, because you're not getting through to the people that you've got the attention of, right? Okay, so video can help you with that. The third thing is use video to close sales. And this means making better sales presentations on GoToMeeting or Skype. Sometimes all that is moving your camera. You may find that all of a sudden people stop arguing with every little thing and start to take your word for it because you look more credible if you move your dang camera away from having the window behind you and looking like Darth Vader, and looking like a fly-by-night character, right? If you don't look like a terrorist, then people will stop asking you crazy questions, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I did say we have a special offer. If you are already a member, this may or may not be interesting to you, but basically what we're doing is we're going to offer one video for anyone who becomes a new member this month, and one to 2 minute video. Excuse me, 5 minutes is way too long for a promo. We'll do one of those AIDCA, either a demo, product demo, or an explainer or something. We'll work with you to figure out the right topic for you. So this offer is for you if you sell something in aviation, and if you understand that marketing is not magic. Our insider circle is what we call our group of clients, and some folks are just members of the insider circle. Some folks are in our digital marketing program, our content marketing program, our SEO program, or website refresh, or any of the other full service consulting that we offer. All of those folks we put into our insider circle because we feel like the more people talk to each other, the better. You can save a lot of time, money, and reputation by running things by the group before putting them out there in the world. If you're going to publish an ad or publish something, it's great to have a test market, and this is a nice, friendly test market, and we expect all of our clients to participate, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good for them and good for us. Okay, one of the things that you get as a member of our insider circle is you get office hours, and that's 1 hour a month on anything you want to talk about.
Having to do with aviation marketing.
Aviation marketing and sales. Sometimes we get off topic, but we always try to bring you back to something that's going to help you sell more stuff. That's our mission, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, and that might be video, that might be SEO, that might be fix my LinkedIn profile. It could be anything. Run through a sales presentation with us and comment on it, those kinds of things. Projects, we do have discounts on a lot of our projects and things. If you want a new website or a sales presentation done for you, or a video, or other kinds of things, we do that. Destinations are done for you scenarios. We use Basecamp to keep track of where we are and what we're doing, and of course you get access to our project management tools as well to use with your team and with our team. We have a book club. Our members get a book every month on a sales or marketing topic, and that gives us a really great excuse to get together and talk about them, and talk about some of the ideas in the world that are changing, and get into some of the classics and or the latest research on sales and marketing and what applies and doesn't apply to the aviation industry. You get access to our briefing room, which is where we keep all of our webinars like this one, so you can get back into them anytime you want to and download all of the stuff again. We have live events like this August. We're going to have a sales and storytelling workshop in Sundance, Utah. That's the spiritual home of the Sundance Film Festival, where they have real movie producers. And that's actually going to be a really great event. We love Sundance. It's up in the mountains here. We're going to go horseback riding, and we're going to enjoy some time with each other, and also work on our storytelling skills, because the better you are at storytelling, the better you are at selling, right?
Yes.
Okay. So all of our products are risk-free. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee on everything. No long-term contract. We don't want to be stuck with someone that's not happy any more than you want to be stuck with us if you're not happy. If it's not for you, you lose nothing. So the folks that are in our group tend to really love it. Even people who were kind of skeptical at first. Gene was not too sure about the whether this was going to be a good use of his time, but he gave us a really nice testimonial unexpectedly after being in it for a while. So you also get $347 in free advertising, and that includes being listed in our directory, an opportunity to be featured in our podcast once a month, those book club discussions. We let you introduce yourself and then also pitch a product or service at the end. So that's podcast advertising is actually worth quite a bit of money these days, which is really nice. And our insiders get that opportunity every single month. So if you join today, we will do a 1 to 2 minute video, an explainer or product video for you. And that includes the whole process of planning it, building it, editing it, publishing it, and promoting it, and giving you some ideas about how to make the best use of it on your own channels, your own social media, and so on. So how do you get that? You browse to abci1.com/insider circle. You scroll to the bottom, you choose silver or gold, you enter your credit card information, and once again, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. We promise you'll be happy with the results. Aviation's a really small world, so we can't afford to have anybody unhappy, and so we will do whatever it takes to make that something that you're proud of and something that you feel really good about, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so questions about anything at all, and you will probably notice that I followed that AIDCA formula with this entire webinar, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Excuse me.
Absolutely necessary. So questions about anything at all, about the Insider Circle or about videos or about anything. I know we're a little bit over time, but we'll stay on the line as long as we've got questions coming in.
What's the monthly charge on silver level?
Silver level Insider Circle, that's actually our most popular, and that is $279 a month, and that includes the office hours and all of our materials, the book club, and so on.
We sell a service similar to insurance. How can we do a product demo? Excuse me.
A product demo for a service, there's a whole bunch of really interesting information on how you can productize a service, and you really want to make sure you do that. We sell marketing services, but we sell it as products. For example, our Insider Circle or our different packages of services that we offer. A website refresh is a package that we offer, and we sell it as a product. So if you think of your service, your insurance service or whatever, as a product, how would you demo that product? What are the benefits that people get from it, and how can you illustrate those benefits in hopefully a tangible way, right? Mm-hmm. So you can show like a case study. That would be one thing, either real or fictional. We've seen a lot of these illustrated or animated videos, the line drawing kind of things, where they show somebody who has a problem and then you solve the problem and show how your product is the hero that saves the day, and carry on from there. And you can do that in a really simple 1 to 2 minute animated video, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Well, I think we are done. I think we're about 10 minutes over, so we'll call it a day, and we're really glad that you joined us for this. And if you have any questions after the fact or didn't get a chance to get those typed in fast enough, send them to us by email or on social media, and we will be happy to get back with you. All right. Well, have a great afternoon, and once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you. Thanks. Ciao. You could.